The Billionaire Who Pretended He Couldn't Walk, Chapter 1. The Secret Behind the Wheelchair. Omoni Oboli was the kind of billionaire many only heard about on radio shows or gossip programs. He owned hotels from Lagos to Enugu, tech startups spread across Abuja, and vast farmland in Anambra. His father built the empire, but Omoni expanded it. Yet when people saw him, they didn't talk about his wealth first. They talked about the wheelchair. 8 years earlier, he appeared in public sitting quietly in a custom black wheelchair. His assistants spread the story. The young master had a terrible accident. He cannot walk again. People pitied him. People respected him. And most importantly to him, people kept a distance. But nobody knew the truth. Omoni could walk perfectly. At 17, he loved a girl who pretended to love him only because he was rich. One day he overheard her telling her friends, "If he was poor, would I look at him? A beg, I'm just waiting for him to buy me an iPhone." That betrayal shattered him. When he inherited his father's empire at 25, he decided something strange. He would pretend to be unable to walk until he found someone who truly loved him. He wore the mask of a calm, humble, broken man. He watched how people treated him. The greedy ones became impatient. The fake ones disappeared, and the proud ones ignored him. But inside, he was lonely. Deeply lonely. He wondered if anyone would ever love him sincerely, and he had no idea. Chapter 2. The Woman Who Didn't Fear a Billionaire. The real story began at one of Omoni's construction sites in Enugu, a massive hotel rising slowly into the sky. He arrived with 2 bodyguards rolling toward the workers who bowed nervously. Everyone except one person, a young woman arguing with the contractor. Her name was Omoni Oboli, a civil engineer with sharp eyes, sharp brains, and sharper honesty. "This cement is nonsense," she shouted. "If you continue like this building will collapse in 10 years. The contractor begged her to lower her voice, but she didn't care who heard. When Omoni rolled closer, Omoni turned to him, not with fear, not with admiration, but with frustration. "Sir, your contractor is trying to cheat us. I won't be part of a project that kills people in future." The entire site went silent. She had challenged the billionaire. Omoni simply stared at her. No one spoke to him like that. No trembling, no fake smile, no pretending. She cared about the work, not the money. Later that day, he found himself thinking about her voice, her boldness, her passion. For the first time in years, his heart reacted to someone. The next day, he returned. And the next. And the next. Sometimes he asked her to explain architectural designs. Sometimes she pushed his wheelchair around the site. Sometimes they just talked. Omoni didn't treat him like a broken billionaire. She treated him like a human being. Slowly, unknowingly, something began to grow. But the lie of the wheelchair followed him everywhere like a shadow. Hurrying to Chapter 3, a friendship that should not exist, approximately 8 minutes. Weeks passed, and Omoni became the best part of Omoni's day. She teased him. She argued with him. She scolded workers on his behalf. He found himself smiling at night, something he hadn't done in years. But he also found himself feeling guilty. One evening, they sat beneath a half-completed balcony. The sunset brushed her face with gold as she spoke about her struggles. Her father died when she was 19. Her mother sold a car to pay her school fees. She worked harder than everyone because she hated pity. "People think I'm too stubborn, but I just want to build things that last," she said quietly. Omoni looked at her. "Your stubbornness is your strength," he replied. She smiled and his heart trembled. But he couldn't confess the truth. Not yet. He feared losing her. He feared being rejected again. He feared that if she knew he could walk, everything would change. Meanwhile, Omoni noticed small things. How he lifted himself slightly when moving between seats. How his legs sometimes tensed unconsciously. She didn't ask. Not because she didn't notice, but because she respected his silence. The bond between them deepened. Everyone at the site could feel it. Everyone except Omoni and Omoni themselves. But fate was preparing a moment neither of them expected. Was the day rain returned to Enugu with thunder. The workers packed up to leave early. Omoni stayed behind to finish measuring some steel rods. Omoni insisted on waiting with her, sitting under the roofing sheet. Suddenly they heard a crack. A loose scaffold pole snapped and swung downward violently, straight toward Amarachi. She froze. There was no time for guards, no time for thought, no time for secrets. Iziani stood. He stood up and ran. Not limped, not struggled. He ran like a man who had never been in a wheelchair. He grabbed Amarachi and pulled her out of danger just before the metal pole smashed into the ground. Silence. Only the rain. Amarachi stared at him with wide eyes. He was standing, walking, breathing hard, alive. "Sir," she whispered, "you can walk?" His throat tightened. "I can," he admitted softly. "Then, why the wheelchair?" He swallowed. "Because I didn't want money to blind people. I didn't want fake love again. I wanted truth. I wanted someone who cared about me, not my name or wealth." Amarachi looked at him, not with anger, but disappointment. "You don't test people with pain," she said, voice trembling. "You've been hiding your heart." She walked away in the rain, leaving him standing alone for the first time in years, without the wheelchair and without her. For 3 days, Amarachi didn't come to the site. Iziani didn't sleep, didn't eat properly. He felt afraid for the first time, not of being alone, but of losing someone who saw him with sincerity. On the 4th morning, a knock came at his mansion gate. It was her. She walked in quietly as he stood by the staircase, fully, openly on his feet. "I needed time," she said. "Not because you lied, but because I needed to understand how I felt." He nodded. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I thought if people saw me as weak, the fake ones would leave." "Maybe they would," she said softly. "But someone who truly loves you would accept you as you are, walking or sitting." He breathed shakily. "Do you hate me?" "No," she whispered. "I think you've punished yourself long enough. You hid to protect your heart, but you also caged it." Her voice softened. "Let the world see you, the real you." He stepped closer. "You're not angry?" "I was never angry," she said gently. "Just sad for how lonely you must have been." Iziani's eyes glistened. For the first time in 8 years, he felt free. Amarachi reached for his hand. "Come," she said. "Walk with me, without fear." He did, and that was the beginning of a love that didn't need tests, a love that didn't need lies, a love built on sincerity, not wealth. Iziani finally understood. A heart finds love not by hiding, but by standing in truth. Chapter 6. When the world discovered the truth, approximately 8 minutes. For the first time in years, Iziani Obidiki walked freely inside his mansion without fear or disguise. It felt strange, like wearing a body that had been locked away for too long. Amarachi walked beside him quietly, her fingers brushing his gently, as if encouraging him to breathe. But outside the gates of his peaceful home, a storm was forming, a storm he never saw coming. The video that changed everything. While Amarachi walked away from the construction site days earlier, one of the workers had recorded the dramatic moment. Iziani standing, running, grabbing her from danger. At first he kept the video privately, but greed is a powerful whisper. He sold it. Within hours, the video spread across blogs, gossip pages, WhatsApp groups, and morning radio shows. "The billionaire who fooled the world! Iziani can walk! See video! What else is he hiding?" The country exploded. People argued, why would a billionaire fake being crippled? "It is a psychological issue. He is hiding something. He lied to all of us. Who is the woman in the video?" Paparazzi gathered outside his mansion. News vans parked across the road. Employees whispered in fear. Investors demanded answers. By evening, the board of Obidiki Holdings summoned him to an emergency meeting. Amarachi looked at him gently. "Do you want me to go with you?" He exhaled slowly. "Yes." The meeting of judgment. The boardroom was tense. 11 men and 2 women, people who respected him for years, stared at him with fire in their eyes. The screen behind them replayed the leaked video in humiliating silence. Iziani entered walking. Some gasped, some stared, a few whispered. The chairman cleared his throat. "Iziani, the world believes you misled your investors, partners, and the entire public. Your silence has created chaos. Explain yourself. Izayani looked at all of them, then at Amarachi sitting quietly in the corner. I wasn't trying to deceive the world, he said calmly. I was trying to protect myself. The chairman frowned. From what exactly? From people who pretend to love me because of my money. At 17, I learned the hard way that wealth attracts fake affection. So I hid a part of myself to see who truly cared. There was silence. Cold silence. Then one board member hissed loudly. So you endangered our image because of childhood heartbreak? Another added, thousands of people invested in us, believing their CEO was a survivor of an accident. You made this company look like a liar. The voices rose. Accusations flew across the room like arrows. Only Amarachi watched him with calm eyes, silently offering strength. Finally, the chairman raised his hand. There is only one way to fix this scandal. You must address the nation publicly. Tonight. Izayani froze. He had avoided cameras for years. He hated public attention. His wheelchair had been a shield, but now he had none. Amarachi's voice gently broke through the tension. You can do it, she whispered to him. You've lived in shadows for too long. His chest tightened. He nodded. Prepare the press room, he said. I will speak tonight. The confession that broke the internet. By nightfall, the press hall was packed. Cameras clicked. Microphones pointed at him like spears. Millions were watching live from their homes. Izayani walked to the podium. Gasps echoed. He cleared his throat. My name is Izayani Obediki, and for 8 years I pretended I could not walk. A rumble of whispers filled the hall, but he continued. I was afraid of love, afraid of being used, afraid to live as myself. So I hid. I lived in a wheelchair not because my body was broken, but because my heart was. He paused, voice trembling slightly. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I allowed fear to control me. Maybe I should have trusted the world more. But I needed sincerity. His eyes drifted to Amarachi standing quietly at the side. And recently, someone showed me what sincerity looks like. A journalist shouted, Is she your girlfriend? Amarachi looked down shyly. Izayani smiled softly. She is someone who taught me that truth is stronger than fear. Flashes burst from cameras. The world was watching not a billionaire, but a man confessing his humanity. Aftermath. By the time the press conference ended, the internet was divided. Some sympathized. Many mocked him. Others defended him. But something beautiful happened. Thousands messaged, I understand your fear. Love is hard for rich or poor. You finally found someone who sees you. And for the first time since he was a teenager, Izayani felt free. No wheelchair, no lies, no shadow, just truth. He turned to Amarachi as they walked out of the hall. Thank you, he whispered, for staying. She smiled gently. I haven't even started staying. The world was still buzzing after the press conference, but inside Obediki Mansion, something felt wrong. Very wrong. Izayani sensed it the moment he returned home with Amarachi. The air felt heavier. The guards looked uneasy. Even the lights in the living room flickered strangely. His head of security, Okechukwu, hurried toward him. Sir, we have a situation. Izayani stiffened. What situation? Okechukwu swallowed hard. Someone broke into your private study. Diri Asharam. Nobody enters. Izayani's private study was the most protected room in the mansion. Not even the board had access. Not even his extended family. Inside that room were documents. Documents no one should ever see. He rushed there immediately. The door was cracked open, the biometric lock damaged, the bookshelf slightly shifted. Papers lay scattered on the floor. Amarachi gasped softly. Someone had searched through everything. Okechukwu spoke carefully. They didn't take money. They didn't take your valuables. They were looking for something specific. Izayani's heartbeat quickened. What exactly? Okechukwu hesitated. We found this. He handed Izayani a black envelope. No name, no address, just a red stamp of a broken crown. Izayani froze. That symbol. He hadn't seen it in years. It belonged to someone he once trusted. Someone he never wanted to cross paths with again. The message in the envelope. He opened the envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper. 2 sentences. The world now sees you. Good. Let them watch when everything you love burns. Amarachi covered her mouth. Okchukwu clenched his fist. Sir, who sent this? Ezeani's voice was low. A man who hates me more than anyone alive. My cousin, Chidubem. Amarachi looked up sharply. Your cousin? Yes, Ezeani whispered. The man who believes the Obidike Empire should have been his. The family secret he never spoke about years ago, before his father died. There was a silent war inside their family. Chidubem, his father's older brother's son, believed he deserved control of the company. He was manipulative, charming, and ruthless. He tried to force the board to support him. He forged documents. He even bribed officials. But his plan fell apart when Ezeani's father exposed him. The shame destroyed Chidubem. He disappeared without a trace. Until now. Amarachi whispered, Why would he break into your home? Because he wants something I hid in this study, Ezeani said. Evidence left by my father about his crimes. If he destroys it, he can rise again. Okachukwu stepped closer. Sir, should we alert the police? No, Ezeani replied firmly. Chidubem plays smarter than that. He doesn't want me imprisoned. He wants me destroyed. His eyes shifted to Amarachi. And he will come after the people close to me. Amarachi's heart skipped. After me? Yes. The call that changed everything before Amarachi could respond, Ezeani's phone vibrated. Unknown number. He answered slowly. A calm, mocking voice spoke. I see you're walking now, cousin. Ezeani's breath caught. Chidubem. You broke into my home, Ezeani growled. Home? No, Ezeani. You own houses, wealth, companies, but you have no home. You have nothing genuine, except maybe that pretty engineer standing behind you. Amarachi froze. Chidubem chuckled softly. Oh, you're surprised I know her. The whole country is watching her too. Do you think the woman who made the billionaire walk again would go unnoticed? Ezeani's fist tightened. What do you want? Simple, Chidubem replied. Step down as CEO within 72 hours, or I will take something from you, something you can never replace. Silence. You wouldn't dare, Ezeani whispered. I already have, the voice answered softly. Check your email. The call ended. Ezeani rushed to his laptop, opened his inbox. A single video file sat there. He clicked it. Amarachi gasped sharply. It showed Chidubem standing near her mother's small Akara shop, watching her mother without approaching. Just watching. Threatening without touching. The message was clear. I can reach anyone you love. The fear he never wanted to feel again. Amarachi trembled. He knows where my mother works? Ezeani held her hands tightly. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is because of me. No, she breathed. This is because of him. Okachukwu stepped forward. Sir, we must act immediately. Move Amarachi to a safe house. Guard her mother. Increase security around the mansion. But Ezeani wasn't listening anymore. He stared at the broken crown symbol on the envelope. His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. He wants war. Amarachi looked at him with fear. Ezeani, what are you going to do? He turned to her slowly. Whatever it takes. The events of the past weeks had shaken Ezeani's entire world. The scandal, the betrayal, Chidubem's attack, the board's fear, the public outrage, the emotional weight of his past. But storms never last forever, and now at last the sky above his life had cleared. Ezeani Obidike walked into his office on the top floor of Obidike Holdings, not with the heaviness of a man who had something to hide, but with the confidence of a man who had nothing left to fear. His presence was different. His walk was firm. His face was calm. Employees stood when he entered, not out of pity, not out of forced respect, but out of something new, genuine admiration. They had watched how he handled the betrayal, how he faced the nation with honesty, how he exposed corruption instead of protecting it, how he walked out of a wheelchair and into the truth. He didn't need to impress anyone anymore. He had become a leader in a way that had nothing to do with money, power, or name, only character. The meeting that repaired everything. The board gathered again. The same people who once questioned him, doubted him, pushed him into a corner. But today their tone was different. The chairman spoke first. Ezeani, you didn't only restore your reputation, you restored the company's soul. You showed the public what integrity looks like. Another board member added, and we misjudged you. We're sorry. Ezeani didn't hold anger. He only nodded. What matters now, he said, is rebuilding what we lost and creating something stronger than before. They agreed unanimously. Today, Obidi Holdings wasn't just a company, it was a story of rebirth. A quiet moment with Amarachi. Later that afternoon, Ezeani stepped out onto the balcony of his office. The view of the city stretched far and wide, bright and alive. Amarachi joined him quietly, the wind tugging at her hair. You look lighter, she said softly. I feel lighter, he replied. For the first time in years. She nodded. Truth frees people. He looked at her, not with dependence, not with desperation, but with gratitude. You didn't save me, he said gently. You just reminded me that I could save myself. Amarachi smiled. That's all anyone needs, a reminder. They stood side by side, two people who had walked through chaos but refused to be broken by it. There was no rush, no pressure, no need for anything immediately. Just understanding and peace. The choice that proved he had changed. In the evening, Ezeani returned home to the mansion that used to feel like a cage. He removed the wheelchair from his room, not with anger, but with respect. It had been his shield, his hiding place, his fear. Now it was simply a memory. He locked it away gently, not to forget it, but to move beyond it. Then he stood in front of the mirror, the same mirror he once stared at in shame, and saw himself clearly for the first time. A man who had been hurt, a man who had hidden, a man who had fought, a man who had survived, and a man who was finally living honestly. The final walk. At sunset, Ezeani walked through his garden. The air was cool, the sky orange, the world silent. With every step, he felt pieces of his old life falling away. Fear, loneliness, shame, pretending. All gone. He paused near the fountain his father built. The water shimmered under the fading sunlight. He touched the old stone and whispered, I'm ready now, Dad. Ready to lead, ready to live, ready to love, slowly, sincerely, without fear. As he stood there, Amaraki walked into the garden, stopping a few steps behind him, not calling his name, not interrupting, just being present. And sometimes that is all two people need. No drama, no chaos, no running or hiding, just two hearts at peace in the same place. Ezeani inhaled deeply, letting the quiet fill him. He was not a man in a wheelchair anymore. He was not a broken billionaire. He was not a boy scared of false love. He was simply Ezeani Obidike, whole, free, finally himself. And that was the perfect ending, not the end of his life, but the beginning of his truth.